this video is going to be about sealing up my roof of my trailer so I don't have to worry about any water intrusion into it. You might have seen one of my last videos of me replacing the dome here and put the Dicor around here, right here. And then I've let it dry for 1 month. It says it takes about 30 days to dry 100%. So we got good weather, sun. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. I've got the Eterna Bond tape. I have a 4-inch tape and 2-inch, and I had some 4-inch tape that I had left over from another project, just like that. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do my 4-inch tape will go from here over onto the dome, and then I'll switch. I'll probably do a 4-inch tape along here to cover this. What happens is a Dicor, after some time, starts breaking down. You got to touch it up. Like you can see some of the white spots there I've had to touch up because it cracks. And I don't want to deal with that anymore. I just want it to be sealed and not worry about it. And then right here, I'll show you, this is a gutter here. And I'm going to zoom in here. This here, underneath this thing is some screws that hold this gutter assembly into the side and also hold the roof edge in place. When it comes around, it goes under here. So I've noticed here that the caulking is starting to pull away. I'm sure they have caulking underneath this where the screws are, but not guaranteed that there is. So I'm just going to run my Dicor, not my Dicor, but my Eterna Bond tape right around over this and all the way over this cover here, which it will help protect this from breaking down too, because in the future I've heard of these, the sun break them down and they could crack, or they expand and contract, or they just come loose and they fly off while you're driving. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do around my refrigerator vent here. I'm going to do around everywhere there's a spot where I could put tape. Around here, on my front, across the front. And then I'm going to do right here, this vent area. This is over the bathroom. And we had the trailer probably for 2 years. Yeah, 1 or 2 years. And the here, we had a problem one day. We woke up in the morning after it rained and water was dripping through onto the floor in the bathroom. And what happened was the Dicor that was put on from the factory, or whatever they use, had broke down a little bit, and there's just a small little crack in it. And so water was getting through. So I re-Dicored it, and I haven't had a problem since. We've had the trailer just over 4 years. So I'm going to use the Eterna Bond tape all the way around that too. Not going to worry about things leaking again. So I'll get started. I got to do cleanup work here. I have pure acetone. You can buy it at a hardware store or somewhere else. This was cheaper, 100% pure acetone for nail polish remover. Instead of buying it in cans, it was cheaper this way. And then I'll wipe down with the denatured alcohol on all this other stuff, the rubber and stuff that I'm going to go over. I have a roller. I didn't buy the expensive roller that they sell to roll this Eterna Bond tape down. I bought another one. I'll just push real hard. And then for areas like this, right here, this here, I have this roller that I bought to use to push it in real tight on these corners. And on this, it's just a screen roller. So one end is pretty flat, and then this one's got a groove in it, this end, so I can use the flat side. This is for repairing screens, pushing that little rubber gasket in place when you put screens together. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to move this top here on the refrigerator. And then I'm going to get started cleaning all this up, getting it ready to put this down. Here I am over the refrigerator vent, and I need to take it off in order to get my tape here in place nice here. So they've used some type of rubberized silicone and put it in the holes to cover the screws. There's 4 of these. I just dug it out with the regular little straight screwdriver there, and then took the screw out. So the screw is in here pretty deep, so I had to use a long Robertson bit, square bit, to get in there to grab it to take it out. A short bit like this will not work. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them and show you what it looks like with this off. I got the cover off, and here's how much of this silicone I peeled out of there. It went pretty fast. It only took me 3 or 4 minutes. So these are where the screws were, and they're supposed to line up exactly with these holes here. And then what they did is they missed the holes. I guess they're just in a super big hurry. They didn't have it placed properly. So when I put it back on, I'll place it in the right place. Another thing I noticed was this screen up here is really rusty. So I have a rust neutralizer that I might just wipe on this, and it'll help neutralize and kill this rust. Because eventually this will break down, and then insects can go down in here. So, and then another thing is this top, while I have it off, I might just wipe it all down, and I have it's a plastic paint to spray on plastic, and I used it on my propane tanks, and it's been on my propane tanks for like the propane tank cover for about 3 years, and it still looks like new. So I'll show you what that looks like, what my propane tank covers look like, and you can compare it to this, how this is worn down. And then when I inspect it around here, it all looks good. You can kind of see where I've touched up before, where I've noticed cracks. And with this top on, it's really hard to inspect. But when I took the top off, I'm not sure if you could see, here's where a screw is. You can kind of see right there where water can get in and go through the screw into the trailer. But it looks like no water got in there. So I'm lucky. In the other areas, it looks like this one is okay, but after time it would crack there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get this all cleaned up and get my tape on, and then I'll start taking care of this area and painting this. So I just want to show you real quick. Here's what my tank cover looks like, painted with that paint that I use. And it did look like, after like 1 year, it did look like my cover that was over the vent cover over the refrigerator. So this has held up real well in roughly 3 years. Still looks like new. I've got this area all wiped down with acetone, and then the denatured alcohol, and it cleaned up pretty well. Got the majority of the dirt off. The acetone was really what really cleaned it nicely. And I wiped down the roof. I wiped it back here, wiped it all in here real well. So I'm going to start putting on the 2-inch strip of the Eterna Bond tape now. I'm going to use the 2-inch tape here along the side. It's going to drop down roughly around there, wrap around, and go up on the roof up to this point. So this here, the white side is out, and then in the back you peel off. There's a clear small piece, and then this is really sticky. So when you put it in place, you got to make sure you're exactly where you need to be, because it pretty much sticks where you put it. You can move it, but you want to make sure you get it right the first time, and then you press it in place. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to be putting this on here, and then I'm going to use my 4-inch tape to go from here and overlap over the top of it. where the skylight is. Here's some quick tips on using this Eterna Bond tape. So this here, the gray side, is a sticky side, and this is a side that will be up that you'll see all the time. This is really sticky. So let me show you something. You have to peel off this thin layer of clear film on this side. The best way to do it is just jerk this back and forth, and it makes a little gap here. And if you can't get it, I do this with a knife. The stuff is really sticky, so it will stick on itself really well. It'll also stick on the white side real well. See that? So when you handle it, be careful. You don't want to touch it together, because if you touch it together, you can't get it apart. That's really bad. But I don't know if I could do this. It'll stick to itself like that. And the more pressure you put on it, the bond becomes hard pretty quick. So you can see here, it's really hard to get apart. So, but you, I'm going to stick it together and see. I'm going to stick it here, roll it, and then you'll see it just, it's going to stick to the roof, and with more time, it just won't come off. So, to make straight cuts and nice clean cuts, I just use a board, put it here, and run my knife across it. If you use scissors, they'll eventually get all crumbed up like that. You can clean it off, but it's easier to use a knife. It says to use it, you can use a metal roller, but I just have a rubber one, and if you just push really hard, it works fine. So, and then for fine areas, I have this roller. This is actually a screen to fix screens, to put the gasket in. One edge is got a little groove in it. One edge is flat. So I just use this in all my little areas that I work it into, and roll it in. It'll bond real well. And so it says here to clean the surface, you can use a Eterna Clean. You can buy that from them or online, Amazon. Lacquer thinner, acetone, denatured alcohol, etc. So I used some mineral spirits to do some work here. It says if the surface is rusty, scrape or sand loose rust, then wipe clean. And then it says when you apply pressure, the bonding process will activate faster than no pressure on it. So you can use the rollers or the palm of your hand, it says, will even work. Eterna Bond does not stick to silicone. And then some roof cleaners have silicones in them, and it won't stick very well to that. So test to make sure that it'll work on a small area. If you live in a cold climate and the temperature is below 40 degrees, it says use Eterna Prime before you go applying the Eterna Bond tape. So it says to keep the Eterna Bond tape in a warm area prior to use. So I kept mine in the house because it was colder out at nights. So I kept it in the house like 65 degrees. So that's the stuff you need for this. And this stuff works really well. So I got it started. The trick is to just take your time. This little wheel thing worked pretty good for pushing it into this the little parts right here around this little cover. So, and then I use the other roller to push it in place really hard. So it's working. I'm only peeling a little bit off at a time of this clear stuff. I'm not going to go crazy and peel it all the way down, because if I peeled off here, this would be all sticking everywhere. So I'm going to keep going. And the thing is just patience here. Take your time. I'm going to show you how I do this real quick. I pull this back, I don't know, 8 inches or so. And I line this up just where I want it. Like that. I take this flat edge here and push it in to the groove. Work this like that. I'm glad I have this little roller. Then I work this up a little bit. Take this roller, roll it really hard. Just like that, and then I do the next section. I've got one side done. I had a lot of interruptions today, so I wasn't able to finish everything, but I was able to do this side around the refrigerator vent, around the skylight, in probably 3 hours roughly. So pretty happy with this. And let me see, I'll show you here over the refrigerator. So, and then along here, this turned out really nice too. That 2-inch tape worked really good here. And then this here is 4-inch tape around here. So you just roll it in really good. I just kept rolling it, get the pressure so that this gray adhesive behind it will kind of come out a little bit, and it'll push on. Once that's pushed in, it sticks really good. So tomorrow I'll try and get some more done. Might get the back along here and around some vents, or maybe just on the other side, just like I did over here. So far so good. It's the next day. Seems like pretty nice weather here. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I've decided to just wipe down this side and then do my 2-inch Eterna Bond tape on this side. And then I'm gonna clean this up and do this area, put some 4-inch tape on it. I'm probably here, right here. I'm just gonna trim this back a little bit here where it's blobbed over, so that when I put the Eterna Bond tape here, it'll have more to grip onto rather than just a little edge here. I was looking at this here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Right here, I noticed a little crack here that could eventually become a water leak. And then right here is a screw that holds this plastic on this corner piece here. So make sure when you go around, you check this stuff real closely, where there could be possible leaks in the, just like here. Let's see, right here, all along here. So anyway, I'm gonna get going here. Here's towards the front of the trailer. Here's the tongue. And here's a good example of this stuff here. it covers up the screws that hold this gutter in place and the roofing down of it shrinking and pulling back. So my Eterna Bond will just go right over the top of this and seal this off. And then on the Eterna Bond, you can see here, you know, how it just kind of starting to break down slowly. And if you look close right in here, you can see cracks, but they aren't very bad. It'll take a long time to crack all the way through, but you can see how it starts to break down after time. So I'm going to go on, continue on cleaning here, and then start doing the tape. I'm on the back of the trailer cleaning this Dicor up, and so it's dirty from road film flying up on it and stuff. So you can see here how it is kind of dark. I'm cleaning up here. You can kind of see a pit right here. Anyway, I'm cleaning it up here. I was using the acetone to clean it, but it wasn't cleaning it very good. And I'm reluctant about using the mineral spirits like they say you can use, because I don't want to get it on this roof. It might break it down or leach through slightly and loosen up the glue. So I just wiped the Dicor itself, and then I'm going to spray some Windex on it to clean it off, any residue that's left behind. So that works pretty good. I'm just going to use my acetone to clean the roof here out, because I have the 4-inch strip of Eterna Bond. So I just want to give you that tip. I wouldn't be getting this on your roof. If you do, get it on the roof itself, get it cleaned up right away so it doesn't break it down. I'm going to clean the front up here. So I just want to show you what it looks like before I do it and then after I do it, so you can see how dirty it is. So I'll show you after I get it cleaned up what it looks like. Here's what it looks like after I cleaned it. It's clean, it's just like discolored Dicor. So I'm going to show you over here. This area. The tape is 4-inch, so I'm going to trim this back. I don't know if you can see. Trim this bubble back a little bit and trim this a little bit here. So the tape will cover more, because I don't want it just sticking. It'll stick on this Dicor, but I want to grab more of this when I put the Eterna Bond tape on here. I'd rather have more adhesion to this fiberglass and the roofing than just Dicor. So what I did was I used my utility knife and I just scored it really lightly across here. And then I'm going to use my scraper here just to scrape it up. That came up very easily, just peeled right up easily. So what I've done here is I've just scored it lightly, being careful not to get into the roof material with this utility knife. And now I'm going to scrape it off. I've got it all cleaned up. Cut this back here just a little bit, and just being real careful not to lift the roof material or cut it. And then this is done here. So I forgot to mention something. I told you that I cleaned this up with the mineral spirits. And then what I did was I sprayed it down with the Windex, wiped it all down, this whole area here, Windex. And then I used the acetone to clean the roof and this area here. So I got this cleared out nice wide swath here, getting ready for the tape. I've got this other side done now. I just want to say, I think I said it earlier, but this thing is a ticket. This little roller that I got for to roll it into little grooves here. This thing works really good. If I didn't have this, I would probably have air pockets all along here. So I'll put a link to buy this in the description below. I got it at Home Depot. And it's only a few bucks, so I recommend getting this to help you work it into the little joints. I'm back at the front of the trailer now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this 4-inch tape all the way across. I went ahead and put a piece on here, across here, got it in, rolled in really tight. So now this will just go right here, all the way across. I just thought of something. I want to have a nice straight line across here of my tape. I don't want it weaving back and forth. So I put a straight edge here and marked a line. You can see it. So I can set my tape up along that line. And I'll just start it along here, and then I'll kind of work it over and over the edge and then over the top, working it into the creases as I go. Because if I just went here and right across to here, push down and down, it's not going to stick here. So I got to work it across the edges. So using the straight edge to mark a straight line sure did help. I was able to make a nice straight line all the way down. So it turned out real well. I'm happy with it. So now I'm going to go on to the back and lay it down. Here I am on the back. So I'm going to use a 4-inch back here also. I got this all cleaned up earlier today. I could use my 2-inch, but they're probably, by the time I went over the edge, there wouldn't be a lot of coverage. So I'm going to go with the 4-inch. It's going to be overkill, but at least I know it'll be covered. And I happen to have enough, so I'll be fine. I'm just going to do that instead of trying to skimp by with the 2-inch. One other thing, I won't need to make a straight edge line across here because I'll be able to just follow this back edge as a line, and I'll just go along it so I'll have a nice straight edge. And then I'll just work my way over. When I lay it down, I come over the top and then go this way, pushing it out. I want to show you something here. See how this line, it's all nice and clean here, like that. Then you see it isn't along here, it's kind of not in place. This thing works really good to work along. I'm trying to do this left-handed, but I'm right-handed. This one goes along and cleans it up. Here we go, this will be a good example. To push it in tight against that Dicor seal. Then I have a nice seal. I push it down, and then I'm going to use my rubber roller to really push this in here and over here. But that little roller works great to pinch this in around the Dicor. I got the back all down nice and tight and rolled, and I think it turned out pretty well too. I'm going to put the tape around this back bathroom vent now, so I'll take it off. You just pull these pins like that and pull the other side, and then you just lift it off. I've got it off, and it's pretty dirty up here. I'm going to have to go around and clean this up, and then probably clean the fan up too. I'll do that later. I want to get this done, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this all up with the mineral spirits, and then around here, use my acetone, and then just bring my adhesive, the 4-inch, down across and over to here to block that all off. So it looks like there's no real leaks going to start here, but this tape will make sure that leaks don't happen here. I started cleaning this all up, and then I you know what, I'm just going to remove this. It'll be easier for me to put the tape on, especially back here. It looks like I can take a screw off here. Let's see. There's a screw there. And then on the other side, I think. And then there's a couple up in here. So I'm going to take those off and remove this. This is fairly easy to remove. I'm glad I did. I can clean all this and lubricate this all up. This pin went through here like this. It goes like that. Like that. And then there was a screw on one end and the other end holding this in place. So I pushed this out and then took this one side off here, and it pulled it off the arms here, and it just came right off. So I'm gonna get it cleaned up now. Got this all cleaned up as much as we can. It's funny, you start working on something and then all of a sudden you see there's more work than you thought, because now you have to clean the fan and the screen and everything. So I asked my wife to help me out and clean the fan. So she came up and cleaned it all up. So I've got all the areas cleaned up the best I can. And this one here, and I got this one right here, and then up front I got this one all cleaned up and it's all ready to go. So I'm going to start putting tape around it, but first I want to show you something on the ladder. Here's the top of the ladder on the roof, and they blobbed that all around it, their Dicor. And underneath it, I'll show you what it looks like. If you go around here, that's what it looks like under there. So I'm gonna put my Eterna Bond around the top part up here on both legs. When I was looking here, climbing up, I noticed this. I'll zoom in on that. See, the screw is loose. So I'm gonna have to check that out, and maybe put some Dicor or something, sealant in the hole, take the screw out and then put the sealant in there and then the screw back in. So something to watch for. Just keep an eye on your trailer for loose bolts and screws. I've got one ladder leg done right here, and here's how I did it. I just cut 2 4-inch pieces, cut a hole there, half a hole. I used the lid off of that to mark it out. So it's cut on both of them, it overlaps like that. And to make this circle here, I just did this. I found something round, set it there, and marked it out and cut it with the utility knife on a piece of wood. It's easier to cut that way rather than with scissors. And then I just worked it in, and then here's the old Dicor underneath here. And I went around the edge with this, pushing it in place, and then rolling it down like that. So now I'm going to lay this one down. And then what I'll do, I'll probably just put some Dicor right around here to seal that off. And that's it. Ladder's done. Now I'm going to go over to, no, I don't want to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. On this one, where the clips go to hold the hood down, I just notched little holes here. Came up about a 1/2 inch on the side of the fan housing, and then I'm going to put it down. So there you go. Well, I got this fan all done here. It's done. I just have this vent to do, this vent to do, the antenna, and then this vent up here. And that's it. I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I should be done with this. I'm ready to do this front vent. So I want to show you how I do this. What I do is I measure from this point, the farthest point, to the farthest point over there. And I add a 1/2 inch on each side, which ends up being 15 inches for me here on this vent. So this one, this tape will go from here across to here. And then this other tape will come down and go over the top of it to the same distance it would be from here to here. So now that I have that, I measured 15 inches from here to here, and you can see I poked a little dot with my pencil. That's 15 inches. And then we get this straight edge here squared up on the tape, and then I cut it with this knife. Just cut it back and forth. I have not back and forth, but just a couple passes on this wood, and it cuts a nice straight cut. If you use scissors, what happens is that gray sticky stuff right here gets all caught in this, and it doesn't cut very well. So that's how I cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut right here, one for the back part of it and one part for the front at 15 inches. Here's a good example of how clean of a cut it is. I'm going to install this this tape around this without removing this top, because it's a little bit more of a pain to remove than the other one that I had with the fan. So what I did was I took and bent this here. You can see I just cut my piece and then bent it up a little bit. Now I'm going to pull the clear plastic off the back of this tape and then try and slide it in place very carefully to get it under that lip. I got it in place here. It didn't go up as high as I wanted it to right here, but that's okay, it'll work. I've got these pieces down, the 4-inch pieces, and you can see here, I just put a little tiny piece in here on the corner because there's a little gap there. And I want to make sure when I put this piece across that this gets covered here, so I don't have to put any Dicor on that little corner there. So I laid this out, I got it cut, this piece here, and what I did was I measured from the vent frame over to the bolt and then added a 1/2 inch, and I did it, transferred it to here, and I just cut a little cross here to poke over the bolts when I put it on. So it should have about a 1/2 inch lip going up there. I have this side on, it worked pretty good. I didn't get that 1/2 inch lip that I wanted, but it'll still work and stick. So got this side on, gonna go around to the other side now. This one's all done, so I'm gonna put the cover back on it. It's nice to have that cover on here because if it's raining or anything and I have this open, I'm able to circulate air through the trailer and not get rainwater into it. If it's raining really, really hard with a crosswind, then I might shut this down, you know, most of the way. But majority of the time I keep it open. And then also when I travel, sometimes I leave it open just to vent the trailer. And as long as this cover's on, it's protected. It also protects it from the sunlight and stuff. I had a friend that he had it shut and it broke down over time, and start cracking. I guess he didn't realize it, and then he was driving, and when he got to his destination, he noticed it was completely gone and just torn off because it was so brittle. So it's good to have a protective cover on it. They aren't that much to buy, and they're easy to install yourself if you want to. The cover's back on. It bolted on really easy. So you can notice here that the vents are pointed towards the back of the trailer. And that way, if you're driving and you have your vent open, air could circulate and go inside. If you had it the other way, the air would just be ramming in and probably just maybe break your vent cover if you have it on. So, or if it's raining, the water will just blast in there and go inside. This way, the air just deflects off of it and sends the rain the other way if you're driving, or the wind also. I'm going to cut my pieces out of the Eterna Bond tape to go around this. The measurement from here to here is 3 3/4. So I have two of these. I have one here and one over there. So let me show you what I'm going to do to cut those out. What I've done here is I have two pieces. I cut them 8 inches long of the Eterna Bond. I took and it's overlap about 3/8 of an inch. I found the center from here to here and here across, marked it, measured over 2 3/4 inches across here. Then I found something in the diameter of that, which happens to be this coffee cup, which is pretty cool. It's the perfect size. Flipped it over and then traced it out. Then on the corners, I like to have them rounded rather than pointed, because if you have it pointed, there's more lip there to try and peel it up later. So I like to round them off. So I had a roll of tape that was about the right size. Just set it there and marked it out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this all out with my utility knife. There we go, all done, cut out. I'm just going to tape another one together and just set this on top of it and then trace it out and then cut it out, and then I'll go back on the roof. That worked out well, so now I'm just going to stick it down. That went better than I thought. So I carried it up the side just a little bit, so I don't need to do any Dicor on there. I wish I'd done that here on these legs. I'll figure something out there. Hopefully I could do something without using the Dicor. Those are done. Now I have this one. So for the antenna, the diameter is 5 3/4 round. And I found this bowl that is just over 5 3/4. So I've marked it out here. And I'm going to cut just inside the line because this is just a little bit over 5 3/4. So the reason I put the tape on here, it's easier to write on this material. It's easier to write on the tape rather than this material. So I'm going to cut that out. This looks like it's going to work out very well. So there's one half, and I'll do the other half on there, and then my little pieces on each side. The antenna's done, and it turned out nice. I'm going to go back to my stairs and see what I can do to make it a better seal there, so I don't need to use the Dicor. What I'm going to use around the ladder is this Eterna Bond. I'm going to leave the existing Eterna Bond that I just put on. These circles here were left over from me cutting out for those sewer vents, so I got those already done. The pipe size for the ladder is 1 inch, so I'm cutting these holes at 3/4 of an inch, and I just marked it out with a socket. This should work. I'll show you what it looks like when I got it together. I've got both of them on and they worked out pretty nice. So let me come around here. Let's see if I can go in the sun. So it kind of goes up the side of it now. It's a lot better. Now I'm going to put the fan cover back on. Before I put the cover back on, I lubricated the moving parts up here with a silicone lubricant. It's a Blaster, made by Blaster. So I just put lube here wherever there's moving parts. I just moved it, put lubricant wherever it moved. Remember this at the beginning of the video, this is a refrigerator exhaust area. I think it has a cover on it and it exhausts a little bit of heat off of the refrigerator when the propane's running. And so this was all rusted out. So what I did was I used my I have Prep and Primer, Jasco. I don't think they sell this anymore. It stops rust and it prepares the surface to be painted. So it usually kills the rust pretty good, and I've used it a lot. They don't sell this anymore, but there's some other things on the market that might work. You can go to the local hardware store and ask them. So I put it on it last night, and all the rust is kind of neutralized and sealed. So I'm going to spray some of this black high temperature paint on it just to help protect it so it doesn't rust out. I think this is stainless steel and it shouldn't really rust, but it's probably a low quality stainless steel or would have rusted sooner and quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this up. I got it all painted up. I put a bunch of heavy coats on it. So now I'm going to go and paint the cover with that plastic paint that I was telling you about earlier, where I painted my covers to my propane tanks. So let's go do that. Here's what I use to paint plastic. Rust-Oleum, 2 times ultra cover, paint and primer, bonds to plastic, wood, metal, and more. So here's what it looks like before I paint it, and then I'll show you what it looks like after. It's all painted up. I realize it's shinier than it was before because it was flat before, and now it's a gloss. But this will maintain the nice look of it for a long time this way, just like it did my propane tanks. So I'm gonna let this dry and then put it back on. I've got the cover reinstalled. This is the vent cover for the refrigerator. It's all on, screwed in place. And then I silicone the holes up where I screwed it down with the Luxol silicone. So, should be good to go for several years, hopefully, with no problems here with this wearing out or the screen going bad. So I'm all done. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something here. I got the whole front done, all around the vents, all along the sides, both sides. Here the TV antenna, around the refrigerator vent, around the sewer vents, the other roof vent, and skylight, and the stairs posts here, and all along the back. So we should be good. This is worth it. I'm not gonna have to worry so much anymore about leaks, I think. We'll see. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos that I've done, just take a look at my other videos under Michael Bracewell, the travel trailer guy. And if you like, you could hit subscribe and the little bell icon to receive future videos that I might put out. So I know I'm going to be putting out quite a few more videos, and just wanted to say thank you very much for everything. So one of my next videos might be on how I clean and seal this roof every 6 months. Take care, everybody. Happy camping, and thanks for watching.